Thanks for watching Backyard Politics. I'm Nikki. Last night, Maddie Filardo from Hysteria on this channel and I went to the Salem protest for George Floyd in Oregon, and it was at the state capitol, and there started out being a man and his wife dropped off water and pizzas for the protesters, and it was really sweet. He was very supportive. There were about 200 people to start with, and it ended up with about 500 people there at the protest. And then later on, cops pulled up right about here, if you can see it, and in an unmarked SUV, so it made everybody a little bit tense. But while we were standing there, we got a lot of honks, a lot of, we're with you, and also there were probably, I think there were 2 Salem police cars that drove by, and a couple of the cops did wave or give peace signs, and 1 state trooper actually did as well. So credit where it's due, okay? I did want to also say that I did tweet about this, but last night while I was protesting, my friend in Iraq told me to be safe. So I wanted you all to think about that. My friend in Iraq told me to be safe. That's where we are as a country right now. So I live streamed on Facebook the protest. I won't play all of it. It's a 28-minute video, but I will show you parts of it. This is downtown Salem, Oregon. It was incredibly peaceful, the whole protest. If there was ever anybody that wanted to start shit, the protesters told them to leave immediately.
I'm tired. Now I have the whole thing.
There's the Salem Center Mall.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Hands up! 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 Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't let cops! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up!
So for the 3 nights leading up to this protest last night, things got a little bit heated, pretty heated actually. There were flashbangs, rubber bullets fired, there was tear gas. I wasn't at those protests, I was just at the last night's one, and then I'm going to be at the one on Saturday. But this was entirely peaceful. This kind of thing needs to be shared more.
Mark that on the budget list. What indication you do, Mark?
Our street! 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 Our street!
So the purpose of a protest is to shut shit down and make a statement and inconvenience everybody. This person and a Jimmy John's driver tried to instigate shit last night. They're honking trying to get through. This one didn't really create that big of a scene, but that is dangerous as fuck, and that's how people are getting mowed over. Next to Jimmy John's delivery driver. Next to Jimmy John's delivery driver comes up, honking, blasting through, and then the protesters kicked his car. Is that wrong? The fucker tried to run people over. That's how shit gets escalated.
That was actually a pretty small idea. Just getting the job done.
We can honk back.
Getting the job fucking done for sure.
George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd!
Got 23 beautiful.
George Floyd! Our street! Our street! Peaceful protest! 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 Peaceful protest!
The horns honking were at the intersection showing support. Now we're making our way to the Capitol Mall right across the street from the Capitol building itself.
Matt, stop.
Take a knee! Take a knee! Take a knee!
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
We took a knee and were silent for five minutes. And then after this, there was
5 minutes of silence!
a surprise at the end. The Oregon State Capitol building. Again, there were 200 to 500 people there at any given time that night. The guy walking around is with the Statesman Journal, I believe. The local paper. Besides the Statesman Journal, the only other anybody reporting on this was myself and maybe some other independent journalists that I didn't see. But that's it. Because it was peaceful. They were all up in Portland watching the protesters up there get their asses beat. Violence sells. This doesn't. This is why this needs to be spread. Share this. Share this on every social media you have. It is possible. And again, there is a surprise coming at the end that nobody saw coming. A lot of the looting and rioting is instigated by the right and by the police officers around this country.
This is our protest. We're going to make it peaceful. The cops are going to try and incite fear and hate. But we're not going to listen to them. We're going to do it our way. And we're going to do it correct. We're not going to let them control us.
The entire time they called for peaceful protests. So Maddie just told me that there were 2 police officers that took a knee, and that's where we're headed now. And they were not in riot gear. So the protesters are walking over that way right now.
I was like, what y'all doing? We taking a knee.
Everybody consolidate and get back on your knees.
Sorry.
Put down the riot gear, pick up the sign, make it a parade.
Yeah.
Lots of traffic where you make a parade.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could hear that. It's pretty low, but they said we would love to make it a parade, and that's why everyone started cheering. And then that young black person went and gave him a hug. And then another one.
Hey, I don't know who's helping, but I don't know if you saw the chief of police, the city manager, and the mayor. They got with Benny Williams, the president of the NAACP. They put together a letter to kind of talk about how they feel about the community and how we're all part of it. If you guys don't mind, I can read that to you.
Okay. Amazing. Take it easy so people can see in the back.
We are people and organizations in Salem who strive for true justice, real freedom, and equality. The City of Salem, Salem Police Department, the Salem Kaiser NAACP, and all people of goodwill see and hear your concerns and feel your pain. Why? Because it's our pain as well. To each person in our community lifting their voices right now, we hear you. We hear your urgent call for a free and fair life for each person here. We acknowledge the very long way we have come and the very long way we must go in the work for true equity. We see and recognize the pain and the burden of historical and present injustices facing people of color in the United States and here in Salem. With anguish, we recognize the passing of Mr. George Floyd as the most recent example, but not the only example, of the devastating loss of life that drives the need for action. The senseless loss of life of Mr. Floyd of Minneapolis, Minnesota, brings us to this time and place. We know the circumstances. It's those circumstances that bring us to the streets yesterday, today, and into the future. Protest is appropriate. Demands can be legitimate. Let's take them to the next logical place, a serious and ongoing dialogue. We must continue to look for ways to make our community better. We examine systems to look for racial, all inequality, and when we find them lacking, we correct them. Collectively, we have much to do. We lose ground when we must repair a broken shop window or when a person's business is vandalized. Violence slows our progress. Some speak of dismantling institutions, but true dismantling of oppression and injustice occurs not with the brick, but with caring people like you. Not with a thrown explosive, but with impassioned plea. Not with a fight, but with a vote. We are already at attention. You have our attention. In this unique moment in history, where we are all dealing with COVID-19 and its continuing deadly impact on our community, communities of color especially, to tear up, burn down, and destroy the very places we need to continue to get through this pandemic is not wise. Speak with us about ideas, problems, and solutions. Join with us to take concrete actions to improve the lives of those needing it most. Help us honor the memory of George Floyd and all others who have come before him, not with violence, but with compassionate, positive action for change. We progress faster toward these ideals when we enlist our talents together. It takes all of us, unified today, to achieve the community we want to be. Those in charge must be told face to face the status quo is not acceptable. Black lives matter, not just on paper, but in life. Yeah.
Not done.
Our lives should not be at risk simply because they are black. Recent violence in our community is not the answer. In the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Do you see peace is possible?
Thank you.
And the protesters were appreciative, obviously. But it isn't like that everywhere. In fact, here's a picture of actually that officer holding a "I can't breathe" sign, Black Lives Matter. It really meant a lot to everyone, and I'm trying really hard not to get choked up because we need more of this. That was leadership. That took so much balls to go up to a crowd of that many people that they'd been fighting against for 3 fucking days. took so much balls. I appreciate Salem Police Department for showing that courage and strength, and I appreciate every protester out there that was willing to listen to them, because after that they had a totally peaceful walk down to light candles at the new police department, and they were escorted by Salem Police Department. God. But again, it's not like that everywhere, because here it says, if the police want to leave a pile of bricks around my neighborhood, let a girl know, because I got some landscaping and gardening to do, which is kind of funny, but these cops got caught. Oh, shit.
Are those fucking bricks? What the fuck are those?
Those look like bricks. Look, yeah, those are fucking bricks. What the fuck?
Yeah.
They're collecting all those bricks so that the protesters don't fucking use them, dude. That's what they're doing. Or they're doing that for undercover police officers that are getting involved in the protests. So that
Exactly. They're setting shit up, because in one of my previous videos about the riots going on, the person that started all of these riots, it started in Minneapolis, okay, where the George Floyd murder took place. So the guy that started all of the riots was in Minneapolis, and it was a fucking cop, and they found him and they outed him, and he was wearing a pink gas mask, and he was smashing out windows with his billy club, or whatever you want to call it, of an AutoZone. I showed you that video. Okay, he wasn't like, I'm pissed, fuck the government. No, he was dressed in all black, had a crazy weird ass black umbrella. I don't know why, maybe to shield himself from gas, or I don't know, glass maybe, but covered all black and was smashing out windows very casually of an AutoZone. And then a kid with Little Caesar's Pizza confronted him, said, yo, you a cop? You a cop? And sure as shit, he's a fucking cop. So, Primo Nutmeg also posted, pallets of bricks are showing up at protests across the country. So, that's just one example. Here's another example. The moment it all happened at the Seattle protest. Getting a little unstable, but they're still great. And then watch right here. I hope you can see that. There's a firework. Spraying tear gas. That's Seattle. That can cause a stampede and fucking kill people. Look at that shit. I heard there were over 2,000 protesters there. In that spot. So, just because it might be peaceful in Salem, thank God, because of, strength and courage on honestly both sides last night, does not mean that it's like that everywhere. And it does not mean that the fucking riot or the protesters are the ones causing the riots. Check this shit out. Cops, all cops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cops breaking out the window of a store. Because if they do this, then they show that, oh, look at what all the rioters did, the protesters. Look what they did. Look at all the damage they caused to all these fucking stores. Now we have to go in there with military gear and riot gear and blow the shit out of them. That's cops doing that. Also, They killed another unarmed black man in Louisville this morning, and they are not reporting on it. His name is David McAtee. He was a business owner in the west end of Louisville. He was unarmed and shot dead at midnight by the LMPD. As of 10:45 a.m., his body was still in the street. And his mother said that he owned a barbecue spot, and he used to bring or give free meals to the police officers. So, while you're saying George Floyd's name, also say David McAtee's name. This is why shit is going down in the streets. All right? Here's some more footage of what happened yesterday here in Salem. Those pictures. I don't know if you can see it, but up in that corner, that's tear gas from the night before this in Salem. So it is possible if both sides are willing to talk. Yeah, so here's some photos. That's the police officer hugging an activist. And a lot of people might say, oh, it was for a photo op. Then why did they escort the protesters right after that from the Capitol building where they lit candles to the new department where they lit candles and then back to the Capitol, kept them safe, and watched over them? I listened to the scanner after I got home to see if shit broke out after I left. Not at all. Nothing. I think. Yeah, that wasn't in Salem down there. So, let me see here. I had a couple other things I wanted to show you guys. I have like really shitty Wi-Fi right now because my kids are upstairs doing the last day of school on their Chromebooks. And my computer's getting mad. Shit. Okay. Every time I see this, by the way, it's for Blackout Tuesday. Every time I see this, I think my computer's still loading too. So I wanted to show you this too. It says, anyone still want to where is it? Anyone still want to complain about the protesters? Can I ask you what's going to happen at 8, sir? What's going to happen at 8 is we're going to start beating the fuck out of you. That's what the cop said. And if you would like, I'll play the video.
Can I ask you what's going to happen at 8? Sir?
What's going to happen is they're going to start beating the fuck out of us. That's what's going to...
I'm sorry, what? Protect and serve who?
Can I ask you what's going to happen at 8? Sir?
What's going to happen is they're going to start beating the fuck out of us. That's what's going to...
So,
can I ask you what's going to happen at 8?
Isn't that disgusting? What's going to happen at 8 is we're going to beat the fuck out of you. So the other day, CNN made a oopsie and let Cornell West talk. Get ready for this.
But I think what we're really experiencing here, though, brother, and I say this in all honesty and deep sadness, because, you know, I've been trying to bear witness for over 53 years, telling the truth and trying to say something about the least of these. But I think we are witnessing America as a failed social experiment. And what I mean by that is that the history of black people for over 200 and some years in America has been looking at America's failure. Its capitalist economy could not generate and deliver in such a way that people could live lives of decency. The nation state, its criminal justice system, its legal system could not generate protection of rights and liberties. And now our culture, of course, is so market driven, everybody for sale, everything for sale. It can't deliver the kind of really real nourishment for soul, for meaning, for purpose. And so when you get this perfect storm of all of these multiple failures at these different levels of the American empire, and Martin King already told us about that. When I saw those pictures there in Atlanta, you could see Martin right there in Atlanta saying, I told you about militarism, I told you about poverty, I told you about materialism, I told you about racism in all of its forms, whatever forms it takes. I told you about xenophobia. And what we've seen in America is now these chickens coming home to roost. You're reaping what you sow. And in this instant, you have Brother George, where it is so clear it is a lynching at the highest level. Nobody can deny it. And I thank God that we have people in the streets. Can you imagine this kind of lynching taking place? And people are indifferent. People don't care. People are callous. You have just a few people out there with signs. I recall the moments in which during the Reagan years, there was a few of us out there. In the 60s, you had masses out there. Now you've got a younger generation of all of these different colors and genders and sexual orientations saying, we won't take it any longer. But you know what's sad about it though, brother? At the deepest level? It looks as if the system cannot reform itself. We've tried black faces in high places. Too often our black politicians, professional class, middle class, become too accommodated to the capitalist economy, too accommodated to the militarized nation state, too accommodated to the market-driven culture tied with celebrity status, power, fame, all of that superficial stuff that means so much to so many fellow citizens. And what happens? What happens is we got a neo-fascist gangster in the White House who really doesn't care for the most part. You got a neoliberal wing of the Democratic Party that is now in the driver's seat with the collapse of Brother Bernie. And they don't really know what to do because all they want is show more black faces, show more black faces. But oftentimes these black faces are losing legitimacy too because the Black Lives Matter movement emerged under a black president, black attorney general, and black Homeland Security, and they couldn't deliver, you see?
Oops.
So that when you talk about the masses of black people, the precious poor and working class black people, poor and working class brown, red, yellow, whatever color, they're the ones who are left out, and they feel so thoroughly powerless, helpless, hopeless. Then you get rebellion. And we've reached the point now, it's a choice between nonviolent revolution. And by revolution, what I mean is the democratic sharing of power, resources, wealth, and respect. If we don't get that kind of sharing, you're going to get more violent explosions. Now, the sad thing is, in this neo-fascist moment in the White House, you got some neo-fascist brothers and sisters out there who are already armed. They show up there at the U.S. Capitol, and they don't get arrested. They don't get put down.
Well, that's
the president.
That's the extraordinary thing.
You see what I mean?
You have these white weekend warriors showing up as if they're former special forces ops when they're not. Busting into the State House, and the president praises those people, and yet everybody else is a thug to the president. He quotes, a white sheriff from the South in, I guess it was 67 or maybe 68. I mean, if you wrote that in a movie, people would say there's no way the president of the United States.
Everybody knows how fucking stupid Trump is, okay? We don't need a reminder of how fucking ignorant, racist, and piece of shit he is. However, Dr. Cornell West called out Trump and Obama. And Obama. There's no fucking way Anderson Cooper will let that go. He will not call out Obama. That's why he's focusing so much on Trump. It's the system that's broken, and he's not even fucking listening. He's steering the narrative back to how he wants it to be. Bad Trump, icky. If we get rid of Trump, it'll all go away. Really? Because it all started coming to a head under Obama.
Would quote a Southern sheriff on the night that a great city in this country is seeing, people in the streets. I mean,
that's exactly right.
But
keep in mind,
and
brothers,
also, I guess
he
the
is
thing
being
that
true to himself. He's being true to himself. He's saying what he really feels in his soul. You see what I mean? But see, we have to recognize too, because I know, like Tupac Shakur, I got some thug in me. I know I've got some gangster in me. And as a Christian, I got to fight it every day. What does that mean? That means we have to call people who they are. A neo-fascist thug in the White House calls my brothers and sisters in the street thugs. So that then the question becomes, how do we keep alive moral, spiritual standards, keep alive, stand in contact with the humanity of all of us across the board, but recognizing we're living in a moment of massive economic, what is capitalist economy? Failure when it comes to delivering the needs. The nation state, failure to protect. Critical criminal justice system, failure to be fair, you see. And the only response we have is just Samuel Beckett, my brother. Try again, fail better. Try again, fail better. Because white supremacy is going to be around for a long time.
Try
Don't
again.
Get surprised.
So, Cornell West speaking truth to power once again. Dr. Cornell West. I stand with the protesters. I stand with the movement. I stand with the revolution. I'm trying to get my computer to work. I'm really sorry, you guys. Joshua for Congress said, I feel like people are forgetting MLK was peaceful and they killed him anyway. And I feel like that's very fitting to leave you off on. So, don't blame the protesters. There's a few people instigating shit, and some shop owners in Salem tried to instigate shit. And there's cops, obviously. I showed you fucking, how many goddamn videos and how many other people's videos. But what Cornell West said is exactly true. It's economic failure. It is injustice. It is suppression. It's racism. It's all coming to a head. It's all coming to a head. And then you get the revolution. And it's happening. So stand with the protesters. Understand why they are doing what they're doing. Why we are doing what we're doing. Share this information on your social media. Hit the like button. Subscribe to this channel. I appreciate all of you, and peace everywhere, peace with all of you guys, and I really hope that things fucking change. I really do. This time it feels different. So, Medicare be with you.